What's up, you guys? Welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. Today I'm going to be finishing off my full set review of Batman Team Up with the Legacy cards. Depending on how long this takes, I might also talk about the mystery cards for a minute, but we'll see. So starting us off here, we have number 1 from the Batman set. Just Batman. You can see back in the day, he used to be 200, 100, or 60 points. So he has dramatically dropped with the Legacy card. Unfortunately, I don't have his card yet, but I'm working on getting that one pretty soon. So I'll post that on screen for you guys. But first of all, I just want to note that all of his point values just about have been cut in half. So his full point line now is 100 points. And then instead of 100 for his second point line, it's 60 points. And then instead of 60 points for his last point line, it's actually 30 points. So just about all of his point lines were cut in half except for the middle one. So that's a great savings. Starting off, he has improved targeting, hindering terrain. And then when he carries someone, carried characters have the Batman team ability until your next turn. So they can use stealth. That's awesome. He can just carry somebody around with him and give him stealth. I think back in the day, he used to just give everybody stealth if he was on, like, everybody with Justice League or Outsiders or something like that. I don't remember. He gave, like, basically the whole team stealth, but still being able to give people stealth at half the cost is great. And then you have another trait that gives him super senses and willpower. So his just starting toughness and then into combat reflexes just doesn't quite cut it anymore. Giving him traded super senses and willpower on top of that is great. Gives him more defense. And then you have that special attack power that's on his whole dial except for his first click. And that's, I forget what that used to be. It was something else, but now it's been changed to Smoke Cloud and Precision Strike. And free, if Batman occupies hindering terrain, place him in a square of hindering terrain within 4 squares and line of fire. So that gives you some free movement capabilities, as well as the Precision Strike. I don't think you'll ever use Smoke Cloud with him as an actual costed action. But yeah, the rest of it's great. He starts with Perplex on all of his starting lines. I think the 100 point line's pretty good just for 10 clicks of health, you know, especially when you consider the super senses and willpower with the 18 toughness. You know, Perplex, you can make him a 19. He's got Stealth. Charge with Flight now. He can also see through Hindering for when he gets to Outwit is pretty good. On a 60-point line, he starts with Flurry, which isn't great, but you do have that special attack power to place him into a square of hindering terrain, so he's kind of like a Charge Flurry still. And then for 30 points, you know, you get Charge and basically just the ability to carry people around and give them Batman ally team ability. So not too bad, honestly. I like the changes. I think they definitely modernized him pretty well. I don't think he's going to see any crazy tournament competitive levelness, but he's still a solid figure and a fun one to bring back. But moving on, next we have Commissioner Gordon from the Batman the Animated Series set. Of course, they always do a great job at those animated series sculpts. And this one is interesting because I was not a fan of this Gordon originally, but his Legacy card is amazing, and I do actually have this one with me here. And you might also notice it's funny that it says Commissioner Gordo. That's been errated. It's supposed to be Gordon, obviously. Gotham City detective and police keywords, and he's got a special a special attack power that gives him telekinesis and telekinesis as free, but only to target another friendly character that shares a keyword with Commissioner Gordon. So we've already seen, of course, you know, Venom Magneto is super meta for the free TK. I mean, he also can carry 4 people, but this Gordon gets you TK, free TK, as well as leadership and barrier for only 30 points, and the police team ability on top of all that as well. Force Blast, probably not going to come up, but it's there. So yeah, I mean, 10 attack, 2 damage, 5 range, he could take a shot if he absolutely had to. But in the early game, you know, that barrier is going to help you stay defended if you need to, and you got double TK, which is always going to be amazing for only 30 points. Then you can kind of just carry him around for the PD and the leadership. So yeah, I think a super, super good figure for only 30 points. Definitely more likely to see him in a competitive match. Like I said, the double TK and this everything else he can do, the barrier, police TA, leadership. What more do you want for only 30 points? So he's a super amazing figure. But moving on next, the next Legacy card is Crazy Jane. I used to have a ton of her, of course. I bought so much of that set, the World's Finest set. But I eventually end up giving away all my Doom Patrol because I just never really played them. And of course now I regret it. But here we are, Crazy Jane. I'll put her on screen for you. She can be played for any point value between like 10 and 50 points. So I mean, for as little as 10 points, you can get her on your team with basically like 1 click of health and the Outsiders team ability, which is amazing because Outsiders is a super strong team ability. So yeah, her first trait here says at the beginning of your turn, roll a d6, turn Crazy Jane to the click number matching the roll. When Crazy Jane removes a personality token, roll a d6 and turn her to the click number matching the roll. And then you have, when revealing forces, give Crazy Jane a personality token for each 10 points of her point value. When Crazy Jane would take damage, instead remove one of her personality tokens. And when Crazy Jane has no personality tokens, KO her. So they have to hit her 5 times, basically, because you can play her between 10 to 50 points, so you can get up to 5 of the personality tokens. And whenever she would take damage, you just remove one of the personality tokens, roll a d6, turn her to that click number, and, you know, she's still in the game. So, you know, like I said, for as little as 10 points, getting that Outsiders TA is amazing. And the fact that you're rolling a d6 at the beginning of each turn means that she's going to be doing something different for you each turn. So her effectiveness is going to vary heavily on your rolls. But, I mean, she could potentially have either starting off with that stealth, super senses, and shape change, or she could have phasing with a 14 movement, 10 attack with telekinesis, 17 with defend, and 2 damage with perplex. Or she could have sidestep, smoke cloud, mastermind, and outwit. Or she could have plasticity, poison, toughness, and exploit weakness. Or she could have charge, precision strike, combat reflexes, and empower. Or she could have running shot, pulse wave, willpower, and probability control. So you've got 6 different, almost entirely different characters there. You know, every turn she's going to be doing something different. She's really random. She could be really, really useful one turn and then completely useless the next. But yeah, I think for 10 points, just throwing her on a team for the Outsiders is worth it. Unfortunately, though, it looks like she only has Doom Patrol as a keyword. So your probably best bet is to play her with the Chief, which we'll talk about in a minute, as there's not really a lot of other good options. There's a few new Doom Patrol characters in the Batman team-up set, but like I said, your probably best bet is just play them all together with the Chief and with some other good characters. But anyway, moving on next, we have Nightwing. And I recently, a few months ago, did a top 5 Nightwing video. And I'm pretty sure I put this guy in the honorable mentions. I think I might have even said that it would be great to get a legacy card of this guy. I'd always thought it would be good for a legacy card because his sculpt is so much bigger than the clicks of the time, and he actually matches a lot better with the current size of clicks. So a great, you know, legacy card option, and he was always good for his time too. So they made him so much better though. He's got Gotham City, Outsiders, Teen Titans, Detective, Martial Artist, Police keywords, a trait that gives him Close Combat Expert and Empower, and then you've got on his movement power, Charge, Flurry, Leap, Climb. And then if Nightwing occupies elevated terrain, modify his combat values +1 as a special attack power that he gets later. And then his special defense power gives him combat reflexes, energy shield deflection, and super senses. So he's going to have a +2 defense all the time, and he's got super senses. On top of having 3 team abilities, Batman team ability, Outsiders team ability, and Titans team ability for only 50 points. This guy's got Charge, Flurry, Leap, Climb, which is going to combo greatly with the traded Close Combat Expert, so he's swinging 11 for 3 on the Flurry. He does have a 6 range also. He can also, you know, Outsiders somebody, so they can't, you know, get any bonuses to their defense kind of thing. You don't want to Outsiders yourself on this guy because he's got a lot of stat boosts. He's going to have basically a 19 defense with super senses. And leadership and in cap. You got a lot of options. I think top dial, he had something like 11 powers, I think I counted, with the stealth from the TA. So a lot of stuff going on there. And then on that back half, you get, if he's on elevated terrain, +1 all stats, which is great, because then with a Close Combat Expert as well, he's still going to have decent attack values and damage values. And yeah, having the Perplex mid-dial helps his values even more, and some Outwit at the end. So he's just, I think, pretty deadly the whole way down. He's definitely a threat for his whole dial. And only 50 points for like 7 clicks of life is great for 3 TAs and, you know, just all those powers that he can be using to their fullest potential. So he's a really, really good one. Really, really glad that they made him a legacy card, and I think they did a great job of him. But up next, we have the question from JLU. this set practically, it feels like it just rotated out. Like, I feel like I was just playing with my JLU stuff last year, almost, but unfortunately, it has been gone a little too long. Anyway, he's got Justice League, Detective, Martial Artist, and Reporter keywords. He's got a trait that says, when an opposing character within 6 squares uses Outwit, Perplex, or Probability Control, if there's no d6 on this card, after resolutions, roll a d6, place a result on this card, and then when a character within 6 squares makes an attack roll, you may remove the d6 from this card and replace a die in the attack roll with it. So that's pretty great. I do kind of wish you could still just take a power action to put one on there, but it is what it is. He doesn't need line of fire for either of those, just 6 squares, which is great. So, that's any type of die replacement effect is always going to be useful. He also has Smoke Cloud, and Smoke Cloud is free, but only to generate 1 marker. And then friendly characters occupying hindering terrain markers generated by the question can use Shape Change. So that's really useful. Just Smoke Cloud under somebody to give them Shape Change. Under himself even is pretty good because he does have stealth. He could just Smoke Cloud under himself to stay hidden in stealth and give himself Shape Change. And with the combat reflexes, 19 defense with Shape Change for 30 points, with stealth is pretty great. He's also got his own Outwit, so, he can just walk around in his own stealth and Outwit stuff and, just be sitting there ready to replace dies in attack rolls. So he's really, really good. Again, they knocked 10 points off of him because he had, I think, the JLU trait where you could roll a d6, and if you got a 6, you could remove a token from somebody. And his die replacement was a power action to put on his die on his card, a die on his card. So it was more in your control when you were able to do that. So I think knocking 10 points off, I think he is still really good. I think that was a good adjustment to be able to play him in Modern now. But up next here, we have the Riddler from Superman, Legion of Superheroes, I think. Again, I just recently did a top 5 Riddler video. This guy was up there. I can't remember. I think I might have actually had him at my number 1, honestly. He's really good. And yeah, I think I also mentioned how he would make a great legacy card figure, and boom, there we go. I wonder if they watch my top 5 videos for inspiration. That would be cool, but I doubt it. So anyway, we've got Arkham Asylum, Gotham City Underworld, Legion of Doom, and Detective keywords. He's got Perplex, but can be used regardless of line of fire. When the Riddler uses it to target an opposing character, after resolutions, give that character a puzzled token. And then when an opposing character within range with a puzzled token would be targeted by Perplex, roll a d6. On a 1, remove all puzzled tokens from that character. On a 2 through 4, gain 1 mission point for each puzzled token on that character. On a 5 or 6, the use of Perplex has no effect and gain 1 mission point for each puzzled token on that character. So basically, they turned him into a mission point character. He used to have Perplex that didn't need, regardless of range and line of fire. So you just basically Perplex somebody's attack down and sit in your starting area with him. And I think they only knocked 5 points or 10 points off of him. Okay, yeah, he's 55 points originally. He's 45 points now. So they didn't actually take too many points off of him. He does have stealth, some smoke cloud, 16 defense with super senses and shape change. He does have the Batman ally or enemy team ability, so you can, help his attack values there. Not that he's going to be doing much attacking, but he is, kind of difficult to get to with the stealth, super senses, and shape change, and just kind of sit there behind somebody, sit in stealth somewhere, and just perplex somebody down. Give them a puzzled token, and then whenever they would be targeted by Perplex, you have that chance to gain mission points. So it's kind of like if your opponent is trying to perplex them up, you could potentially roll a 5 or 6 and just stop that use of Perplex and add a puzzle token or gain a mission point for each puzzle token. But you have to use his Perplex to get more puzzle tokens. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like I'd rather just play him with a bunch of Perplexers and just continuously perplex somebody down. So the 5 and 6 is something you might not want to see if you did a strategy like that. You'd kind of want the 2 through 4 option. But regardless, it could be pretty easy to get mission points with him from his puzzle tokens. But anyway, moving right along, the next one up is the Joker. I don't have this one. I think it's from the Icon set. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. It's an old Joker, veteran Joker. But anyway, he's 60 points. He's got Batman enemy team ability, 6 range. He's got 8 movement stealth, 11 attack with poison, 17 mastermind, 3 damage with outwit, like 7 clicks of health for 60 points, not too bad. His, values are pretty solid to start with, but they do go down with, he's an old figure, so they go down pretty quickly. But anyway, he's got Arkham Asylum, Celebrity, Gotham City Underworld, Injustice League, Legion of Doom, and Monster keywords. So pretty good selection of keywords there. But then he starts with a trait that says the Joker can't be the target of an attack with more than one target. And the Joker has Safeguard, Mind Control, Outwit, and Poison. So that's a lot of good stuff to be protected against. And they can't multi-target him and somebody else, which is really good because that's one of the easiest ways to get around Mastermind. So considering he has the stealth, the Mastermind, the protected outwit, and he can't be multi-targeted, and he's protected poison too, so as long as you just put a bunch of people around this guy, he's going to be really hard to deal with. And then he also has another trait that says damage dealt by the Joker can't be reduced below 1, and that's all damage, so that's going to count for his poison damage as well, which is nuts. And then it says when the Joker KOs an opposing character, after resolutions, heal him 2 clicks, and until the end of your next turn, when he uses poison, he deals damage even if moved or placed this turn. Amazing. So he's super, super good. They did a lot of crazy stuff there, just giving him a couple of traits that gave him a lot of different, protection from a lot of things. And yeah, I mean, for 60 points, I think he's definitely worth throwing on any kind of Arkham Asylum, Gotham City Underworld type team. Injustice League is good now as well. Or even just Celebrity and Monster are great keywords to build around. So yeah, this Joker is pretty insane. And I kind of want to get myself one, honestly. But moving right along, next up we have Atrocitus. The Red Lantern. I do want to get him because I do want to play more Lanterns, but he's 125 or 75 points. The 75 line starts with that last click of charge before the special movement power. But anyway, he starts with a 10 movement charge, flight, 11 attack, super strength, 18 invulnerable, and 4 damage with Battle Fury. Full dial of Battle Fury is great. Adjacent opposing characters can't use stop and can't be healed is his first trait. That is huge. The can't use stop is amazing. Just knocking out stop clicks is so good. Then he has Blood Sorcery, Probability Control, Close Combat Expert. So yeah, having traded Prob and Close Combat Expert is insane. That means he's going to be able to charge for 12 attack, 5 damage to start with, or at least an 11 attack, 4 damage on his 75 point line. And then on his special movement power he gets later is free, place Atrocitus adjacent to an opposing character that since your last turn damaged Atrocitus or KO'd a friendly character. So kind of like a Colossal Retail effect. But yeah, then he's got, a lot of blades and poison in there. But yeah, he's pretty awesome. When you include the fact he does have Brute, Herald, Monster, Mystical, Red Lantern Corps, and Scientist keywords. So a lot of really good keywords. When you include the fact that he can be equipped for free with a Red Lantern ring, that's going to give him poison as well to start with, and makes the poison on his back end of his dial penetrating. It's really awesome, and it gives him that free action to make all the red constructs. So this dude could charge in with Close Combat Expert with a 12 attack, 5 damage, and Prob if he needs it. And then he could take a free action to drop a red chainsaw with Flurry Blades to just finish something off, or even a red cowboy boot with Close Combat Expert of its own for like 11 attack, 3 damage or something, and just boot somebody away. So, I think this guy's really, really good. At 75 as well, I think he's amazing. And especially because adjacent opposing characters can't use stop clicks either. Can't be healed is nice also, so they can't, steal energy or regen while they're next to him. I think this guy's going to be pretty good with the Red Lantern ring. Maybe not quite meta just because he's a little too many points. 125, he's awesome, but he's just too many points to really be like meta. 75, maybe we could see somebody play him on like a Herald team, or maybe even a Monster or Mystical team, just to be able to shut off the stop clicks and everything, and as like a good close attacker that, and making the constructs. Making the constructs is so good. You can't sleep on that effect of just free action to make a construct. So yeah, he's a really, really cool figure. I like him a lot. I really want to try him out and get him and his card. But moving right along, we have the Chief. Again, I had the Chief back in the day, sold him away, kind of regret it. I did pull his Legacy card though, and I traded that for one of the other ones because I did have the figure for it. But anyway, he's got, for 40 points now, he's got Outsider's team ability. And he's got a lot of stuff going on here. He's got 3 different special powers to start out with and a trait. So starting with his trait, it says, when establishing themed teams, choose a character with the celebrity keyword, a character with the robot keyword, and or a character with the soldier keyword. The chosen characters gain the Doom Patrol keyword and have the Outsiders team ability this game. So that's amazing. I mean, right off the bat, celebrity keyword has stuff like Scarlet Witch, Sicarian Iron Man, 2 amazing choices right there, easy off the top of my head. Robot keyword, you've got a lot of good stuff there too, like the Prime Vision. The Justice League Fulcrum Abominus is a great retail piece. There's some other really good robots as well. And the soldier keyword. So again, lots of really good soldiers from like the Disney Plus set. You know, Captain America, Falcon, Winter Soldier, what's her name? Peggy, Captain Carter. There's lots of really good soldiers there. And I'm sure in other sets as well that I'm not even thinking about right now. But yeah, this guy teams up really well with a lot of the Disney Plus stuff, just right off the top of my head. But anyway, then his special movement power to start with is power. Choose an adjacent friendly character with the Doom Patrol keyword and move them up to 5 squares. So that's pretty good. It's kind of like a TK, but not. You know, they could move over elevated and stuff where he wouldn't have to have line of fire too, which is nice. But it's only 5 instead of 6. So, you know, there's some things where like TK could be better. But anyway, he has Mastermind on his defense power, and when the chief uses it, he may choose a friendly character within 4 squares and line of fire that he shares a keyword with. So he doesn't have to be adjacent, as long as they're within 4 line of fire and he shares a keyword. That's really good. And then you got Leadership on his damage power, and when the chief uses it and succeeds, this turn when a friendly character uses the Outsider's team ability to target themselves, they have Safeguard Outwit until your next turn. So that's really useful. You know, sometimes you want to Outsiders yourself so you don't get like any negative modifiers from your opponent. And if you do that, you can also get Safeguard Outwit till your next turn. So that's great. And he's giving out the Outsiders team ability to a lot of the characters, all the characters he's bringing in. So yeah, I think for 40 points, this guy is pretty amazing. There's a lot of crazy teams you could build with him. You know, we got some pretty good Doom Patrol characters in the Batman set, like Negative Man, Robot Man, and the other one, the girl, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. There's also the Legacy card, Crazy Jane. So there's some cool Doom Patrols. Oh, I think Beast Boy, they gave Doom Patrol as well. He's from the Doom Patrol originally. So yeah, lots of good stuff there. All right, so the Chief is amazing, but moving right along, we have Batman Beyond next. And I was so psyched to hear that they gave him a Legacy card. I played a lot of him. This is probably my favorite figure out of the whole JLU set. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with him. I did a team build video for him back in the day. Had a couple of people tell me they really liked that team. I probably will do another team build with this one at some point, at least including him in some capacity. But then this one has Batman Family, Gotham City, Justice League, Project Cadmus, Armor, Detective, Future, and Martial Artist keywords. I think that's basically all the same keywords he had before. He's got improved targeting for hindering, which is great. He's got traded super senses. When Batman Beyond uses it, increase the result by +1 if the attacker was targeted with Outwit since your last turn, which is amazing. If you put a lot of Outwit on your team, he's going to have an easy +1 super senses. And then you have Shui, special attack power, precision strike, and then free make an attack, but only to target opposing characters that have been targeted with Outwits this turn, and hit characters are dealt a maximum of 1 damage. So he can just Outwit somebody and then free attack them for 1 because he does have Outwit to start with. When Batman Beyond uses it, if he occupies hindering terrain, he may use it regardless of line of fire, which is great because he can use it behind characters or whatever, behind walls and stuff. He does have improved targeting for hindering, so he can use it already even if they're in stealth. And he's now 75 or 50 points, which is great. He used to be 125 or 75, so a huge adjustment there. Yeah, 6 range double target. For 75, you got running shot with a 10 movement, flight, 11 attack with that precision strike, free attack special, 18 with invulnerability, and 3 damage with that outwit special. And then for 50 points, pretty much the same thing, except you've got charge and toughness instead of running shot invulnerability. So, you know, both really good options there. If you're willing to commit the extra 25 points, the running shot invuln is going to help you a lot. But for 50 points, he's going to be doing basically the same thing for your team. So I think he's really great either or. He's got Batman team ability for stealth, of course. And yeah, I really like him a lot. Just being able to outwit and get a free attack on something is great. Especially, ignoring basically terrain and characters and everything. And the super senses is nice. He used to have, that thing where if he's adjacent to blocking, he couldn't be targeted at all, which I loved. And I am going to miss that on this one. But at least the super senses with the potential +1, it's kind of, it helps. It makes it not so bad, I guess. And then on a Batman family team, you could use like the Catwoman with the Batman family team up card to give everybody team player, so they're all wild cards, and then he could like copy Wonder Woman team ability from somebody, because there's a lot of Batman family Wonder Womans now, and then he could have another +1, or you could just equip him with the bracelets for 10 points, Wonder Woman bracelets, and then he's got another +1 to his super senses. So those are two good options, I think, as well, to help him out. Moving up next, though, we have the Hal Jordan and Sinestro duo from War of the Light. I am glad that I held on to mine all these years. They just look so cool. Such an awesome, epic action pose of a sculpt. I love it. Unfortunately, I don't have their team up, or their legacy card, just yet. So I'll post it on screen here and we'll talk about it. So they're coming in at 175 or 75 points. They actually used to be 300 or 100 points. So, pretty good reduction there. Knocked 125 points off their highest line. So yeah, they start with a trait that all the rest of the duos that you're going to see in this set have, which says when Hal Jordan and Sinestro is KO'd by an attack before removing them from the game, you may generate a character named Hal Jordan and or a character named Sinestro from your sideline on their last non-KO clicks, then heal them each 2 clicks. The total points of the generated characters must be equal to or less than Hal Jordan and Sinestro's point value. If Hal Jordan and Sinestro is 75 points, only generate one of the 2 characters instead, Protected Pulse Wave, which is great. So that gets you a couple characters in place of them if they go down. If you're playing them in Modern Age, you don't have a lot of options. Unfortunately, the Green Lantern from Wonder Woman is Hal Jordan, but he's named Green Lantern, so you can't use him. The only Hal Jordan we really have at the moment is the Chase from Wonder Woman, who's a Yellow Lantern. And there's also the Chase Sinestro, that's a Purple Lantern from that set, or an Indigo Tribe, and then there's the new Sinestro in the Batman team-up set that is a super rare. So you could potentially generate both of them as a Yellow Lantern. They team up as Green Lanterns, and then they break apart, and they're both Yellow Lanterns, I guess. It's just unfortunate that we won't have another Hal Jordan in Modern Age soon once Wonder Woman retires. Hopefully the next set will be like more Lantern stuff. We'll get a Hal Jordan. We'll see. But regardless, the super rare Sinestro from this Batman team-up set is definitely going to be your go-to either way. So then you also have another trait that says Willpower. When an opposing character would use Outwit, Perplex, or Probability Control to target Hal Jordan and Sinestro or an adjacent friendly character, roll a d6. On a 3 through 6, the use of that power has no effect. So that's great. It's like a pseudo safeguard, Outwit, Perplex, and Prob from opposing characters, as long as you roll a 3 through 6. And it also extends to adjacent friendlies, which is great. And having Willpower is pretty much a must-have on these big, like 175 point characters. Your like big main attackers, tentpole type figures. And don't forget, you can equip them with the Green Lantern ring for free, because they do have a Green Lantern Corps keyword, as well as Herald, New Guardians, Police, and Sinestro Corps. So you could also equip them with the yellow ring if you wanted. But either way, if you equip them with the green ring, they get +1 to their willpower rolls and can take a free action to make all those different constructs. But if you equip them with the yellow ring, they can use that Perplex that they start with to give opposing characters a -2, which is awesome. And on the clicks that they don't have Perplex, it would give them Perplex as well. So it would be nice either way. Both rings are definitely viable on them. But anyway, moving along to his special movement power, Hypersonic Speed. When Hal Jordan and Sinestro use it, it. After resolutions, they may make an attack. So that's awesome. It's kind of like a double attack with the hypersonic. And then you have Hal Jordan and Sinestro can use the displayed standard attack and displayed standard damage powers of adjacent characters for, you know, their first 4 clicks of the 175 point line. So that's pretty good, but it's like you have to really be careful with what kind of support characters you're bringing along. You know, if you bring along somebody with like penetrating blast and range combat expert, that's awesome. If you bring somebody with like prob and I don't know, precision strike or something, that's good too. Like, you just have to find the right characters to team with them to give them some really good combo of attack and damage powers. With the keywords they have, that might be kind of hard to do potentially. So we'll have to see how that goes. I haven't really done too much team building with them yet. Mostly it's been Green Lantern and Herald teams that I've come up with. Police could be good though. But anyway, they do have some really amazing stats. I mean, 10 movement with that hypersonic special, 12 attack, 19 impervious, 4 damage with the perplex, 10 range double target. Green Lantern core team ability to carry, you know, up to 8 people around with them is nuts. It just sucks because you can't carry with hypersonic, so you kind of have to like position your team first and then shoot with the 10 range to get the most out of all the different attack and damage powers. Or just hypersonic, shoot something, hypersonic away, shoot something else, and then free action to, you know, make a construct to attack somebody and not even care about the whole getting it, you know, the attack and damage powers. That's fine too. You could also just run them at 75. They're pretty decent. You know, they got running shot, energy explosion, invuln for 75 points. And then with everything that they do with their trait and the lantern rings, you know, they'd still be pretty useful, I think, for 75. I just kind of wish they had like that 1 click there of that special attack power versus 75 line. I think would be so much better, actually make them really useful. But yeah, I just wish they had that first click there with the special attack power on the 75 point line. That would actually make them a lot better. So anyway, they're awesome. They do a lot of cool stuff. I really like them. I really want to try them out. I don't think they're quite like super meta competitive because they just don't quite, there's a few things about them are a little too clunky, but they're awesome. Moving along, because we got some more to talk about here. Next up is another Batman, and this one here, I do have the figure and the card for. So this is Batman from the 75th anniversary set, just like right out of the you know, classic comic cover of him grabbing somebody flying around with those cool bat wings. And then you've got the legacy card here, and this one gives him a trait that says free if Batman has no action tokens and occupies elevated terrain, move him up to his speed value. So that's awesome. You could potentially just TK him up to a roof and then he could free move. And then if Batman has stealth displayed on his dial and occupies elevated terrain, opposing characters can't draw lines of fire to him. That's awesome. They could still run up and punch him, but, you know, it's really hard to shoot him if he's just sitting on top of a roof somewhere. Later on, he gets range combat expert with a range value of 6 and 2 targets. So taking a look at his dial here, he does have the Batman team ability, and he starts with stealth. I actually gave him the Batman team ability. He didn't like originally have it or anything. So that's why it has that special where if he's got stealth displayed, then he can't be targeted if he's on elevated also. But yeah, 11 attack with smoke cloud, 17 combat reflexes, 2 damage perplex. You know, nothing too crazy. He's only 50 points, but as long as he's on elevated, he can be moving around for free. He can be basically untargetable on those first 2 clicks. And yeah, then he gets some Charge Blades exploit, and then he gets that range combat expert there to help with his attack value and damage value a little bit, and some willpower. So for 50 points, you know, he's fun. It's going to be fun just having him swing around on the rooftops, but he's not going to be doing anything too crazy competitively. He's just a really fun figure, and yeah, I do want to try him out on like a nice big elevated map. Actually, the map that came in one of the OP kits for this set has the Bat Cave, and has a ton of elevated, so he'd be really great on the Batcave map. But moving right along, next here we have Harley and Ivy duo. So I feel like I talked a little too much about the Hal Jordan and Sinestro, so we'll try to keep the rest of them a little bit shorter. But Harley and Ivy have that same exact trait where when they are KO'd, you can replace them with a Harley Quinn and a Poison Ivy. Now, they don't actually have 2 separate point values, so they are only 75 points. with one dial, so you can potentially get both of them. I do like how there's a Harley Quinn and a Poison Ivy in this set that are both 50 and 25 points, so you could do like 50-point Poison Ivy, 25-point Harley Quinn when they're KO'd, and they're just a common and an uncommon, so that works out really well. There's also a Harley Quinn that's like 25 or 50 points in the Wonder Woman set, and then there's the Harley Quinn that's a convention exclusive that came out recently. But yeah, anyway, so you got some options there, but you've got Charge, Flurry, and Stealth on their special movement power. Gotta love that Charge, Flurry, Stealth combo is always pretty good. Then you've got Poison, Smoke Cloud. Smoke Cloud is free, but only to generate 2 markers. And then friendly characters within range have Safeguard Poison, which could be pretty nice. You know, there's a lot more poison going around in this set. And then you have a special damage power that says, when Harley and Ivy attacks, modify attack and damage +1 for each action token on all targets. So if you're picking and choosing your targets just right, they could do a ton of damage. Unfortunately, they don't start with this. I wish they started with that. They do start with Perplex instead. But in the middle dial there, they do have that special +1 attack and damage for each action token thing. But yeah, Charge, Flurry, Stealth. You got the free Smoke Cloud for 2. And then you've got some super senses and some perplex. 75 points, you know, not terrible, not amazing either. They are also a wild card, but yeah, I mean, they're pretty decent. They stay pretty consistent throughout, and then when they're KO'd, you know, you got some pretty decent options to bring in for them. For the, I would suggest just using, like I said, from this same set, the uncommon Poison Ivy at 50 and then the common Harley Quinn at 25, I think would be the best way to spread out that 75 points. But anyway, next up we have Lex Luthor and the Joker. Unfortunately, I don't have their legacy card just yet, but I do have the old figure here, and they are pretty awesome. So they're either 150 or 50 points, so a pretty big difference there. But for 150, they have Batman enemy and Superman enemy team abilities, 7 range. They have a special movement power, 11 attack with penetrating blast for 4 damage, 17 energy shield. They also have a special damage power. And then taking a look at what they do here, starting off with their trait, of course, they have the same trait where they could, when they're KO'd, you can replace them with a Lex Luthor and a Joker. If they're 50 points, you can only choose one. And then another trait that gives them Mastermind. If there are no opposing characters within range and line of fire that have the Batman team ability or the Superman team ability, Lex Luthor and the Joker has Safeguard Outwit. Pretty good. As long as there's no Batmans or Supermans nearby, they get Safeguard Outwit. And then you've got special movement power there that gives them Sidestep, and when an adjacent friendly character is given a move or power action, after resolutions you may place Lex Luthor and the Joker adjacent to that character. If you did, once per turn after resolutions, they may make an attack. So that's amazing, because that's just make an attack. That's just free. There's no action there. That's when an adjacent friendly character is given a move or power action. So you just have somebody full move, or maybe running shot or hypersonic or something, and then you just place them adjacent after that, and they get to make an attack, and then on top of that, they can take their own action to make an attack. So pretty great there. I really like that special move power. And then on their damage, they have Perplex, but may instead modify a combat value by +2 or -2. Adjacent friendly characters have Superman enemy team ability, which is great because if you have 2 Superman enemies next to each other, the highest point one can use Outwit, so basically it gives them Outwit just right off the bat as long as somebody's next to them. And then the Batman enemy helps, you know, share attack values as well. So I really like their 150 point line. I think you could do some pretty crazy stuff there if somebody just full moves up. You just place them adjacent, attack for free, attack again, and then they got the Mastermind. As long as they're adjacent still, they could outwit something, and then they got the Mastermind still. They could Mastermind onto that person still as well. So yeah, pretty nuts for 150. For 50, not too crazy. They've got only Sidestep, regular Sidestep, with 11 attack, poison, 17 toughness, 3 damage with prob, and then they just have that special Perplex. Oh yeah, they got the +2 Perplex. They could perplex their attack +2 with a 13 to shoot. But anyway, they don't start with that on the 50. They just have prob. I don't really like them for 50. They're not really doing anything for me, I think. Just sidestep, poison, prob. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not really as exciting as the 150 point line. They do still have the Mastermind too if you really wanted to save them, but honestly, the best thing to do if you're playing them at 50, just let them get KO'd, just let them get one-shotted, and then for 50 points, you can bring in a Lex Luthor that is 50 points or less. So bring in the super rare Red Sun Lex Luthor from the Wonder Woman set for 25 points. Bring him in on his last click, then he heals 2 back to top dial, or I think it's the click under top dial. Regardless, that way it'll reveal both of his clicks that generates a bystander token on reveal, so you get both of his bystanders immediately as soon as that Lex Luthor hops out. So that's a really mean trick because he's only 25 points, and boom boom, as soon as he pops out, you get the green light and the Bizarro guy. So yeah, super good like bystander tokens to just throw at somebody. So for that reason, I can see playing them at 50 points. But otherwise, if you're going to play them, I would just go all in and play them at 150, honestly. All right, next up, we've got the World's Finest. I, once again, am super glad that I kept this one because they are super amazing. And it was quite a chore trying to get the Legacy card for them, but I did manage to trade for it because I do want to play the heck out of these guys once more. So they got Batman Family, Gotham City, Justice League, Kryptonian, Metropolis, Trinity, Detective, and Reporter keywords. And pretty much every time I play them, they're going to get the utility belt for free with the Batman Family, which is something I forgot to talk about on all the other ones with Batman Family. But they could all also get the utility belt for free as well. At least that Batman, Batman Beyond, that Batman also. He doesn't have Batman Family, poor Nightwing. But still, they could all get the utility belt because I kind of forgot to mention that. But they're getting the utility belt every time I play them. Well, just about every time. Anyway, they have the same trait where they can split. When they're KO'd, you can bring out a Superman and a Batman. And or a Batman. So honestly, I've done a little research into that. At least in modern age, really your best bet is to bring out the new super rare Batman from this set. He comes out with charged steel energy, so he could run up and punch something and heal another click. He's also got like perplex and outwit, so he's just really good. And then you're probably going to want to bring out the Superman from this set as well, the common Superman for 50 points. It would basically heal him to his top dial at 50 points, and then you could just running shot something and hit them and potentially, and then they can't use stop clicks that turn. So yeah, those are the two, definitely the common Superman from this set and the super rare Batman from this set. You could also maybe use the Chase Batman from this set as well. He's really good too. You could also bring in the Prime Batman, but I feel like you would probably just be playing him on your main force anyway, but that is an option. Maybe Batman and Jarro, because that one's just named Batman also. So there's a few options for Batman, but the Superman, really, you just want the common Superman from this set. Anyway, taking a look at their other trait here, they have free make an attack, but only to target an opposing character that, since your last turn, made an attack or used outwit. Super amazing. I mean, that just makes them be able to attack every turn, because almost every turn somebody's going to be attacking. Then you also have this other amazing trait here. When World's Finest would take damage from the effect of an opposing character of equal or less points than them, roll a d6. On a 4 through 6, World's Finest takes a maximum of 1 damage from that effect, which means attack also. So anytime they get hit with something, they have a 50-50 chance of taking only 1 damage, as long as they are equal or higher points than the character that hit them. Then they also have on their defense, combat reflexes, invincible, super senses, but increases the result by +1 for each action token on World's Finest, protected outwit. So amazing, gotta love that. Again, playing them with the Catwoman with the Batman Family team-up card to give them, wild card, and play them with a Wonder Woman to get an additional +1 super senses. Or if you don't want to give them the utility belt, you could pay the 10 points to give them the bracelets for that +1 super senses as well. On the 60-point line, I think it would be worth it, because that's right there. They only have 3 clicks of health. I think we're going to see a lot of this guy at 60 points. I actually have a team in mind with them at the full 175. So I'll probably be doing a team build video about that, but I'm probably also going to do a couple others, maybe at least 1 or 2, talking about their 60-point line as well. But yeah, 11 hypersonic, 12 attack super strength, 19 invincible, 5 damage, 7 range that can see through hindering with Superman. They got stealth with the Batman TA. they're just nuts. You know, they got that 50-50 chance of not taking any damage, basically, if they're higher points than you. So really, really good at 175. They can free attack basically every turn. They get utility belt for free to do all that stuff. I played them once at 175, and I have enjoyed them quite a bit. I've also seen them played once at 60 already, and that was also very good. So I think those are the two, you go all in or you go at 60. 125 is not bad either, though, because you do have 11 movement running shot, 11 attack for 5 damage. They can see through hindering still, 18 impervious, you know, still solid there. Then they immediately go into some outwit. But for 60, you do have charge, super strength with the 11 attack, 18 with the invincible, super senses, and combat reflexes with a 4 damage with close combat expert. So that's 12 for 5 still. So they're basically doing 5 damage on any of their point lines. You still get the free attack. You know, as long as they're being hit by characters that are less than 60 points, they're still getting 50% chance of taking only 1 damage. And then even when they're KO'd, for 60 points, you just bring in the super rare Batman at 60 points or the 50-point Superman. So you got so many options for that. I think they're really great at all their point lines. They're definitely, I think, in my opinion, the standout of all of the legacy cards. The number one that you're probably going to want to get and play with. Last but not least, there's one more that is also really amazing as well. Unfortunately, I don't have it. It is the KC Green Lantern, from the old KC Green Lantern. So this dude has, starting off with, he's 175 or 20 points. He's got the Kingdom Come team ability, which is kind of like super senses from range. JSA for basically like defenders. You got 10 range double target, 10 movement with running shot and flight, 12 attack with telekinesis, 20 defense with willpower, and 4 damage with range combat expert. So he's got a running shot with a 13 for 5. He's got that 20 defense, you know, 10 range for that running shot also. Probably worth it for 175. He's got a trait that gives him invincible and free choose one for Green Lantern to use until you choose again. Charge, Blades, Claws, Fangs, or Super Senses and Barrier as free, but only to generate 2 markers. It's amazing because probably just pick the Super Senses and Barrier as free. So you got invincible traded for his whole dial at the 175 point line. And, you know, mid-dial there where you lose running shot, you could pick up the charge blades if you really needed to, but 10 range is probably good enough to just sit there and shoot somebody and just stick with the super senses and barrier to just keep the barrier in front of him. He does have Armor, Future, Gotham City, Green Lantern Corps, Herald, Justice League, Justice Society, Mystical, and Politician keywords. So you're probably going to want to just slap the green ring on him for that additional +1 to his willpower rolls, as well as the free action to generate all of the different constructs. So he's really awesome at 175 still. At 20 points, though, this guy is probably going to see a lot of play. He does not have that original trait with the invincible and everything. He has a completely different trait for 20-point line, which gives him leadership. And when Green Lantern uses Defend, Leadership, or the JSA team ability, he considers friendly characters within range and line of fire to be adjacent. Once per turn, when a friendly character within range is targeted by an attack, you may roll a d6. If you do, that character positively modifies your defense value equal to half the result for that attack. So you could potentially get a quick +3 to your defense out of nowhere. I mean, he does have Defend, but only to a 17, which, I mean, in some cases could be better. I mean, there are some characters nowadays that are having like a 16 defense, but they're still good. But yeah, I mean, potential +3 to your defense. The leadership within range and line of fire is nuts. And then you also have, you know, he still has KC for the kind of like super sense from range kind of thing. But yeah, you also have the Green Lantern ring for only 20 points to be able to just run around and generate the, you know, constructs for free. So I think for 20 points, this dude is still doing a lot. He's probably not going to make any attacks, but he can defend you if he needs to. He can leadership off of you within 10 squares. And he also can potentially give you a +3 defense. Anything from a +1 to a +3, you know, depending on what you roll, just for like 1 attack per turn. So that could come in handy, and just dropping out the constructs. There's a lot of things you could do with that for only 20 points. He has a ton of keywords to go on a lot of different teams. Yeah, like I said, I definitely think he's going to see play at 20. I think you could see him played at 175 because there's a lot he can do. You know, he got super willpower, basically. He's got the invincible and super senses and barrier around himself for free, as well as still free generating constructs. And you got super senses and the KC team ability, so that's like 2 rollouts. So yeah, I mean, this dude's pretty insane. I think, you know, 20 defense is nuts, 13 for 5. There's a lot of stuff on both point values to like. especially just getting the free Green Lantern ring in Constructs. So amazing figure also. So that's going to do it for all the Legacy card figures. I think there's so many good Legacy card figures this time. You know, I think most of them have actual meta potential. I would say off the top of my head, Green Lantern, World's Finest, maybe Lex and Joker, probably not though. Him and Hal Jordan and Sinestro are like, maybe you could see them be played. I could probably see Batman Beyond be played. I'm sure somebody's going to try the Chief for sure. The Joker is actually pretty insane. Somebody might play him. I would say the Riddler, but mission points, that just really depends on how other mission points go. Mission points aren't really that good of a thing yet, so probably not him. But probably the Question, and definitely you know, Commissioner Gordon, maybe Nightwing, maybe Batman, probably not too much. Anyway, sorry this one was so long, but there's so many, you know, Legacy card figures to talk about, and they do so much crazy good stuff. So let me know what your thoughts about all of them are in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed it, make sure you smash that like button. It does help me out a lot. Don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. And if you'd like to help support the channel even more, check the links in the description for our Patreon so you can see your name here in the credits with all these other awesome people. And for as little as $1 a month, also, you can be entered to win our Patreon giveaways each month, so make sure to check that out. But that's going to do it for this one, you guys. Thanks again so much for watching. Until next time, this has been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.